Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in. Tully Burnalot here, coming to you straight with another video, which is apparently stuck at 30 frames per second. Anyway, topic of today's video is fucking motorcycle. The topic of today's video is Ascent, the space game. Now, I'm going to preface this with a couple of things. First of all, I completely forgot to turn on the sound. I completely forgot to turn on the sound. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. There you go. I don't know if you heard me there, but unfortunately, yeah, whatever. Yay! Hello to YouTube and doing so, hello Tully. Okay, I'm going to preface this with a couple of things. First of all, big shout out, big frickin' thank you to Joseph Lieberman, who apparently is serving as the PR guy for the developer team of this game, which is Fluffy Kitten Studios. Yes, this game is currently being developed by a team called Fluffy Kitten Studios, which is apparently, in my honest opinion, the best name for a development team in the entirety of reality. Anyway, I'll have to preface that. Also, I have to preface that I've had several good conversations with Joseph Lieberman. Mr. Lieberman contacted me via Skype after I emailed him about a key, because apparently I don't have my Gmail address on my YouTube channel, which I thought I did, but apparently I don't. Mr. Lieberman did, in fact, go ahead and contact me via Skype. We had a couple of chats, had a couple of talks. He gave me some information. Other information I got from this game is also, I also got from the chat box, you can see from the bottom left. The community for this game is incredibly freaking nice. I mean, really, they know me, and I played like 5 or 6 hours, not even 5 hours maybe in this game. I just wanted to do this because I wanted to give you a first impressions. That wasn't really just a first impression, because as soon as I got into this game, I knew that, yeah, there, I can't just give you me getting into the first thing or whatever. Now, here's the deal. This game is set after the collapse of the Earth Empire. Earth is long gone. Essentially what happens here is you're left stranded in 9 systems, 9 inner cores. Now, before I go into anything, here's how the game map is divided, right? Before I go into anything else, this game has a Unity type launcher, so you do actually need to go ahead and set the resolution to this game and set the quality to this game. There's a couple of resolution options, windowed or not windowed. You can, of course, access the options menu from within the game. Let me just say that. Stop. You can, of course, the options menu from inside. This we will talk later. This will talk later. Of course, you can go back to the main menu. I don't know what unstable stuff is, but I have that set off for obvious reasons. It was on before? Really? Apparently it was on before. Okay. Wow, okay, did not know that. Anyway, as for the actual UI, I'll talk to that later. Now, essentially what you need to know is, this is a space game, right? I have gotten so many vibes from this, and I'd also like to preface it by saying that no, I have never actually played Eve. I have, however, played Starlancer, Freelancer, pretty much every game in the X series except for X Rebirth. I didn't play X Rebirth. And I played a whole shit ton of other games. To date, my best experiences are still in Freelancer Discovery. The Discovery one for Freelancer. I love that fucking thing. I really did. And this game gave me so many vibes. It really did. Because here's the deal. You get to control one ship at a time. One ship at a time. Currently, I have the Kraken, which was, in fact, a gift by a player called Random Numbers. He basically sold me to this for 1 credit. It's quite nice, actually. Gave me this as well as a mining beam. The whole point of this game is, how can I explain this? It's actually quite complex. I need to find a way to tell you this without spending 2 hours talking. So first of all, there's a help menu. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff for you to read, and there's a lot of stuff for you to read about this. And if that was enough, the game does in fact have a wiki, because when I saw this on Early Access, it's currently available on Early Access on Steam, by the way. When I saw this on Early Access, I was expecting something that was like simple and just got out. Apparently this game, counting with Alpha, has been around for 2 years at this point. 2 years! It has a nice community, it has a dynamic economy, and apparently everyone's so nice that they're just willing to give shit to me because I'm nice too. I don't know. These people are amazing. They answered all your questions, they cater to all your needs. They're not, how can I put this? They're not douches, is what I'm trying to get at. the point was the game was a lot more complex than I imagined. So I'm just gonna try and touch every topic a bit more superficially. Otherwise, I'm gonna take so fucking long. So the two types of transportation in the game. You can either use your, of course, thrusters and transport yourself across systems. Of course, considering the size of some systems, that is not viable. This is basically for short-range transportation, usually for when you're trying to mine or trying to combat stuff, or trying to go into combat. There's two modes of transportation. You have gravity anchor off, as you can see by the red icon on the bottom right, or gravity anchor on. This game, of course, has inertia, as it is available in space. Now, it's very similar to the way that Freelancer did it. If you remember, there was a way to just unfinch the gravity anchor in Freelancer and use regular inertia. Now, gravity anchor on doesn't let you go a lot fast. It basically caps you at like 500, basically 500. You barely get to it in some ships. However, if you get the gravity anchor off, there is literally no upper limit, as befitting a space game. You can just keep going and going and going. However, keep in mind, I'm going in that direction, right? Going in that direction. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to put my gravity anchor on, and turn. And I'm still going to be, oh no, holy shit. No, never mind. Sorry. Just want to exemplify this for you. Basically, going on and on and on. There's no upper limit. Yada, 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 yada. And then I'm going to stop accelerating. And I'm going to keep going in the same direction. And because there's no attrition in space, I'm just going to keep going. This is a nice inertia engine. I like it. I very much like it. I like inertia. I like the physics. It's a bit wonky at the beginning, but I believe it is physically correct. It is, in fact, physically correct, and as soon as you get used to it, it's pretty damn nice, actually. It allows for some interesting flying techniques. Also keep in mind that depending on the size of the ship, it's going to be very different. I mean, the Kraken is huge. Look at this thing. It's huge. It's essentially, it's classified as a heavy sloop, which is basically a heavy transport ship. So yeah, not exactly responsive to anything. Now, of course, this isn't really feasible for transportation among systems and between systems. What you do is you use autopilot. So imagine I want to go to the SS Andromeda and automatically dock. I click dock. And of course, yes, it does do this. Let's just ignore that for a second until I get to the bad stuff. And then it docks you, essentially. This is how you use. You basically go, just undock to show you again. You basically use the autopilot to travel in between jump gates, as you can see here. The jump gate this is the Vulcan jump gate. This will give you a. I'm sorry for the sounds. I completely forgot about the sounds. God damn it. I'm gonna turn on the sounds. Excuse me. And we're back. Sorry about that. I really had to put out the sound. There isn't really a lot of sound except for regular ambient sound effects and the occasional soundtrack, but still, whatever. This is basically how it works. You go around to the various jump gates. Yeah, the warp gate jump sound is fucking amazing. And apparently, oh, I thought I went into the freaking thing for a second there. Okay, that is basically how you travel between systems. You can also go to certain planet surfaces. Oh no! God damn it! Flashing screen. Okay. I didn't want to go there just yet. I want to show you a couple of things first. Essentially, what you do is this is transportation. There isn't a lot. You can actually build jump warp. Fucking sounds. It's a lot louder than I expected. Oh, the game is gonna stop for a second here. Wait a second. Wait. And I think okay, we're good. The game kind of stops after you jump because it needs to load the system in for you. That's essentially how it works. This is basically transportation between different positions in the game. I'm going to show you the actual space stations first, but this is basically your main source of this is in essence your main source of revenue. This is asteroid mining. Like if you go to the help screen, as you can go here, you go to asteroid mining. It's going to give you a lowdown on how to do it. And it's going to give you a lowdown on what sorts of materials are in what asteroids. For instance, the Kamacite asteroid is 100% iron. And essentially what you have to do is go here and point your mining beam, right? Until it reaches a certain temperature. It needs to be I think, over 1,900 Kelvin. However, the more you go between... Of course, you can also overheat it too much, which I'm going to show you with a siderolite. However, the whole point of mining is trying to find yourself a sweet spot. Like, I gotta demonstrate that. The sweet spot is when you hit the blue. Like now. Boom. See? And I gotta fill up with fuck knows how many iron. 359 iron, okay? This is basically asteroid mining right here. It's pushing at the limit, finding the sweet spot, and detonating at the right point. Of course, you can under-detonate it, of course you can underheat it, as you saw before, or you can also overheat it, which I will explain now. Now, I jumped this asteroid miner because we're on Vulcan. So yeah, whatever. Just to exemplify, this is what happens when you overheat the asteroid too much. It explodes and you get nothing. Yeah.
Object destroyed.
Okay, keep in mind there is no such thing as collision damage yet, and all the unnamed asteroids do not have collision implemented yet. Yet being a key word. Obviously, they do have to revamp the whole warp system, because otherwise they're going to be slamming into planets, and that's not nice. And you can, to show you, you can in fact slam into planets, but I don't think you can die from it. I do remember once slamming into Vulcan. Actually, no, that's not Vulcan. I think it is Vulcan. No, I do once remember smashing into this planet. Exemplify that for you. 3, 2, 1, and yeah, see? Not exactly what you would call realistic. Collision damage is not yet modeled properly into the game. Now, there is no collision damage. There's just collision with something. And you can go straight through an asteroid field, and as long as you don't hit any of the named asteroids, you'll be fine. Now, the whole point is that asteroid mining is going to be your main source of revenue, especially in early game, because you can get a lot of contracts for mining. Namely, the most profitable ones are uranium and magnesium, which you get from Autonite and Angrite asteroids, respectively. You, of course, get Siderite, which is mostly silicon, Chondrite, which has stuff like carbon in it. There is, in fact, a list. If you go to asteroid mining on the help topics, you see here, there's a list of what you can find. And the composition. This is in fact true. The more mining skill you get, and the better the mining beam you get, the better yield you get. In the beginning, even if you go to a asteroid with a 5% chance of dropping niobium, you're not going to get niobium because you're a noob. You don't have anything. You have a level 1 mining beam and no mining skill. Of course, when you get to the point where I am, which is not really that much, it didn't take that long to get there. Plus, random numbers really help me with that. I can get easily 200 niobium in like 10 minutes. It's amazing. Now, the whole point is, this is your main source of revenue, because not only do the contracts give you a lot of money in the beginning, once you get to stuff like the Squid, which is the first sloop, which is 300 and something cargo space, or the Kraken, which is the one I'm using, which is 720 cargo space, you can start ignoring contracts and going straight for the galactic market. Now, I'm going to show you that, of course, now by going to the SS Archimedes. As soon as we dock. Okay, sometimes it doesn't auto-dock, I don't know why. Maybe it's because there's a lot of players on it. There we go, okay. This is the galactic market. This is essentially the player-run economy. Keep in mind that, as with any player-run economy, there is, of course, the risk of prices fluctuating madly, depending, of course, on supply and demand. One day, there were level 4 mining beams being sold by 4 million credits each. And then another day, after they were all bought off, some idiot decided to put a level 3 mining beam for 50 million credits. So, yeah, there's overpricing, there's underpricing, and even the people that sell it at regular prices, they kind of have to have a baseline. At this point, I believe it is a player called RAM, which I believe is currently playing, not random numbers, RAM, R-A-M, random access memory. We're currently playing, and is currently popping up the economy by not only setting baseline prices for people to sell stuff at, but also putting more money into the economy by taking his own money and buying stuff he doesn't really need. He's currently propping up the economy, otherwise the economy would fail tremendously. But here's how it works. Essentially, you go to if you want to buy, you go to the galactic market, you specify, do you want a material, a ship model, or a ship? Imagine I want to buy imagine I want to buy a material, niobium, which is a kind of metal. Quantity more than 0, price period more than 0, search. And it'll give you every single one, right? Not a lot of search, actually. If I wanted to make easy bucks, I could just go to Adolphus, which is the system at the end of the Warp Gate system, mine like 200 niobium and sell each one for 45,000. and then people will just buy it up. I've done that. It's amazing. This is how basically it works. You can do this with any material. You can do this with ship modules. You can do this with chips. Like imagine if I want to buy a squid. Let's see if there are squid available. There's 3 squids. Two for 4 million credits and one for 6 million. Now, once you click on it, essentially it tells you what it has. Like you can see here. It tells the name. Also tells you where it is. Location: SS Archon. So for instance, I cough here. So for instance, you can buy an item at this station, SS Archimedes, but the item is actually in another station. So you have to go to that station and pick it up. Yeah, okay, Womble. That's because you don't directly go from your cargo manifest to the galactic market. You need to dump stuff in the item hangar. Like, in each station has your own item hangar. Imagine I want to put iron in the whole thing. Basically, I unload it, and then I can place it on the galactic market. How do I do that? I click Place Sell Order, specify what item type I want to do, let's say material, select iron, which is I have it, select the quantity, select the price per unit. I can also specify the buyer if I want to give something to someone. It doesn't allow you to directly trade between players, but it does allow you to just put it on the freaking thing. Great. Apparently Wumble just fucked up the server again. It does allow you to put it on the galactic market specifically for someone at like 1 credit, which is what random numbers did to me with the Kraken and with a level 6 mining beam. There's of course a contract board, which varies wildly. You can have passenger transportation contracts, which don't really pay a lot, but are easy money, really easy money. Pardon me. You have of course blueprints, which I will show you what they're for eventually. Just buy that one because I can. You can of course deliver packages. You can have coordinates for Rex. Rex have valuable stuff. I can't buy that because it's useless. I'll tell you that a while later. And of course we have the various, like 195 niobium pays X per ton for a total of nearly 5 million credits. Alright? Just tell Womble, I'm recording. No way. Jesus. Okay. This is basically how you make money in the beginning of the game. But as you go on and as you progress, you start realizing the contracts really aren't that cost effective anymore. And at this point, I'm basically just putting stuff on the galactic market and yeah, essentially just making money through that. Or alternatively, you can go out to the colonies and try to sell at the stock market in the wild systems, which is actually what a lot of people do. But I'm not doing anyway. You of course have the local market, and this is where there's a separate type of the economy, right? Depending on the level of industry and starvation, like you can see down here at the bottom, there will be more or less stuff being given and wanted. Like for now, there's 1,300 industry, which means that there's a lot. The system produces iron, so there's a lot of iron for sale. And because starvation is such a high level, which conversely means it's actually very low, that means stuff like foodstuffs aren't bought for as high. I mean, I remember when I first came to this game about a week ago, the price per grain, you can sell grain at like 250 per unit at Vulcan. Now it's at 126. It's actually fluctuating. It does in fact fluctuate. So not only does a player-based economy fluctuate, the NPC-based economy does in fact fluctuate as well, which is very nice. There are no fixed prices. It's amazing. This is how the local market works. You can go to every station shipyard. The shipyard does in fact change every few minutes, give you more lots. Usually, if you want discounts, you better go to the galactic market. People usually sell ships at a discount, or if they don't, they usually have some better things, or not. I don't know. Depends on the type of player. Depends on the type of ship. Of course, I have that. The item hangar I showed you. The hangar, right? I have ships all across the 9 systems because this is my fourth ship, the Pix 4. And of course, I have a Falcon, which is the Pix 2. You can, of course, also refit ships. This is basically where you can select which modules. They have a lot of modules, each with an explanation of what it does, right? Usually, when you're dealing with a ship like this, when you want to mine, you want to take away every excess weight you can. So, for instance, I have Class 1 armor panels. I had Class 7 armor panels. I removed them, and I put Class 1 armor panels for the extra space. Of course, you can I have this storage. One of the things you can also do is instead of fitting, you can also store. you can store these modules for transportation, which I am not sure why we do that, but whatever. You can store these modules for transportation. They will be completely inactive, but yes, they will occupy cargo space for you. That's basically all you can do in the stations. There is a disembark button, but I don't think it does anything. It's a bit bugged. Bugged out a bit there. There is, in fact, a player sprite that you choose the first time you click the disembark button, but I can't get it to work for some reason. It just doesn't work. I'll just disembark. Let me show you here. I'll just disembark and I'll get stuck. Oh. Okay, I can... And I can't move. That's the point. I can't actually move. I can just look around. And I'm floating in space. It's a bit buggy. Bit buggy. So let's just ignore that and let's move on. Thank you. Back in the Kraken. Alright. What else? Okay, let's go back to Ceres, shall we? I swear every time I click warp I just hear whomp. Alright, let's go back to Ceres. I show you. Now, there are two ways of acquiring resources in this game. You can either mine them. I'm talking about mineral resources, obviously. There's two ways of acquiring mineral resources. You can either mine them, or you can set up settlements in certain planets. Now, what are settlements? Let me show you what settlements are. Sorry, settlements. Now, you notice in the contract board that it gave you a deed contract. What that means is the contract will sell you a deed for a plot of land on the surface of a planet. Wait a second. Okay. I'll show you. Give you the deed for something like that. Give you the deed for the surface of a planet. Okay. Essentially, what the deed does is this: you have one small plot of land. It's a 6x6 plot of land, so 36 squares. You can go around and place your various things. You have warehouses. This is Ceres, for instance. So each planet can only produce one thing. Ceres produces grain, so I have a grain farm. Can I click this? Holy shit! I have 1,300 grain. Holy crap! Wow, lovely. So basically, you can put one different type of production structure, and then you can have a whole bunch of increasing of extra structure. You can have warehouses for increased storing, water towers for increased production. You also have residential towers, which increase worker production. You have entertainment complexes, which increases happiness and, of course, lets you produce more. And transport grids to transport the whole thing along the whole transport line. And this is essentially what it does. You put the building down, and the building will tell you what you need. This actually has a lot more requirements. I just filled it up already. And you basically need to take the required items in your cargo hold, click on the building, and it will produce. Like the grain farm takes 22 hours to produce. Some of the buildings in this game are very, very long. Take very, very effing long. It's amazing, actually. Now, the whole point is, and this is something that I have to address right now. It really is. Okay. This is something I have to address right now. Let's go to the help button. Help topic. Settlements. It will teach you how to make a settlement. Right? Like here, it shows you the grid required. Now, you see here, Grain Farm, Ceres, Iron Vulcan, Animal Ranch, Apollo, Vegetable Farm, Ubertus, Orchard, Pomona, Titanium, Veritas, Aluminium, Vestra, and Carbon Harvester on Sol Invictus. However, the only two planets available for free are Ceres, which is grain, and Vulcan, which is iron. Now, Vulcan, you do have to, now the plot of the deed, plot of land on Ceres required through the initial quest line, which is basically just an extended tutorial. And I believe you have to buy the Vulcan deed, which is really isn't that much of an issue. But the problem is, you can buy the deeds for all the other planets, but you can't use them. Because if you want to put a settlement on a planet other than Vulcan or Ceres, you need to be premium. That's an issue. So I'll get to that soon. Before we get to that issue, let's also show you a related issue, which goes to Apollo. Not only can you build settlements God, that noise. The visual effects are very cool too, might I add. Very, very cool. Like it distorts everything. Like, meow, okay. Okay, you have these weird silences because I'm not sure if the game is recording meanwhile because it kind of just freezes for a bit. Nice. Oh god, don't warp through the planet. Okay. There you go. Go to Apollo. That should do it. Alright. So, not only can you build settlements, you can also build a starbase. In Apollo, you find SS Plato. And in SS Plato, you get to buy yourself a D to a starbase. It's good to Apollo Deep Warp. Alright. Come on, Deep Warp. Like, you noticed how there was, in fact, space bases. Now, you can make your very own space base, which you need to build, supply yourself, and design. It's amazing! Unfortunately, here's the deal. Sorry about that, there's a motorcycle outside my house that's incredibly annoying. My neighbor refuses to... my ears. Okay, sorry. Here's the deal. You get yourself a one-ring starbase, like this, like so. And keep in mind that both starbases, settlements, and colonies, which I'll get to right now, you need to buy the blueprints first, because you don't know how to build anything. You have the blueprint to grain farm given to you via the quest line, but everything else you kind of need to find yourself and buy. So, of course, I have a starbase warehouse here. I have a mechanical parts. I think it's mechanical parts. Yeah, mechanical parts factory. You have a research laboratory, and you have a electronic parts factory here. Of course, you can build these freely, and you can upgrade them freely. But the whole point is, I'm going to show you here, plan module. Starbase, you get one ring, right? But of course you want to say, well, maybe I want to make an extra ring. Maybe I want to have even more stuff. Maybe I want to have not only all the modules, but I also have to have multiple modules. Yeah? It's amazing. Well, you can do that. You can. So let's do the plan module. Starbase ring. You need a subscription to Premium Industry to expand your starbase. And that is an issue. That is, in fact, an issue. And I'm not saying issue, because I'm not British. That is an issue. I'll get to that in a second. And you'll see how that connects with settlements as well. Return to Apollo. That should do it. Okay, that should do it. Let's open the map, shall we? We're at Apollo, here. Do you see the massive amount of stars? This game, supposedly, and this is, of course, what I got from the players. This game has 280 billion stars, supposedly the size of our Milky Way. And only 9 stars, only 9, are actually connected via warp gates, which are these blue ones. The purple ones you see here, which connect Veritas to, I believe, Prime. Yeah, Veritas to Prime, Pomona to Minus Paradise, Minus Paradise to Haven. And there should have been another one which connected Minus Paradise to Adolphus, whatever the hell that is. And of course, Vestra to Ramplex, which I believe is owned by Ram. Those are player-built warp gates. They take a whole lot of time, they take a whole lot of resources, but you can make them. And they will permanently connect 2 systems. So technically it's possible to have the entirety of the Milky Way connected via warp gates. It just won't happen because it would take millennia of real-time play. If even more. Now the whole point is that when you want to explore, you need to use a hyperdrive. And the hyperdrive is the only part of the ship that needs to be the same class of the ship. So for instance, you can have a level class 1 ship with a class 10 mining beam. But if you have a class 1 ship, you need a class 1 hyperdrive. The hyperdrive takes hydrogen as fuel, so you have to collect hydrogen via gas giant skimming, which I haven't showed you, but I won't because otherwise this video will take too long. Actually, I'll show you as I'm getting into the other stuff I'm trying to talk about. You can have it via gas giant skimming, and then you can use a hyperdrive. The hyperdrive breaks if you're trying to go over 100 light years. But however, you have an emergency jump, which jumps you straight to Ceres at no cost. It's quite possible. What I've been doing right now is, for mining, I'm going to Miner's Paradise, jumping to Adolphus, mining. And because Adolphus is a one-way system, so you can go from Miner's Paradise to Adolphus, but not back. So essentially, I had to use the emergency jump, and it's cost-free, so whatever. It jumps you straight back to the station in Ceres. Also, a thing you can do here is a stock market search. The stock market is different from the galactic market. The galactic market is just universal for everyone. The stock market is available only to colonists. So imagine you build yourself a colony and you get access to a particular space base on the orbit of your planet. And that, of course, is the colony stock market. And those prices are ridiculously different. I mean, for instance, you can easily buy niobium. They're not ridiculously different, but they're mostly for the development of the colony itself. Because those stations are player-owned, and essentially if you sell something there, the player will then have access to it. It's essentially an entirely player-owned economy that's completely separate from the galactic market. But of course, you need to go to the systems, and that requires a hyperdrive jump, and blah, 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 blah. Of course, I only have a Class 1 hyperdrive, and you have to upgrade it via research, which takes apparently shit tons of time, and you have to upgrade it one at a time. So I have to go. Currently, I have a Class 7 chip, so I have to upgrade my hyperdrive 6 fucking times before I can use it. But yeah, there's a whole new world, a whole freaking galaxy to go around and explore. There's 9 systems by default. There's a handful of other jump gates. They're currently being constructed. Even less of a handful that are being under construction right now, because it takes a whole lot of resources, and it needs to be a very wealthy player doing it. But that's the whole point. Now, I mentioned colonies several times in the video right now. What are colonies? Colonies are essentially settlements turned up to 11. Like, imagine, let's go with that. Juno 46. Actually, let me show you. Close map. Okay, let me show you here. Let's go to Urbitus. Actually, wait. Are there any gas giants on this? Oh, there are. So let me just show you gas giant skimming, right? Because there's no collision, I can just go head on. So, okay. Different types. Okay. Stop. Okay.
Grab anchor on.
Different types of gas giants have different types of materials. Like gas giant skimming. It's going to basically tell you what exactly is on the planets, depending on the colors. We're on Apollo. So, hydrogen, darkish. I have no clue what the orange will give me, but I do know the white stripes are apparently hydrogen. So let's try for the red, green, whatever. Of course, there is no collision, so you can just go head on. It's a bit weird. Anyway, basically that's how gas giant skimming works. You go right by the atmosphere of a gas giant, and you collect the resources. Now, what I was going to talk about was I'm going to show you. Colonies basically work by you going down to an unclaimed planet, which you have by the dozens in basically each system outside the core systems. Landing, going EVA, which means extravehicular activity, analyzing the soil and the atmosphere, and then finding if it's suitable for your interests. Now, planets can, of course, contain colonies. Can basically. Okay, let me aim that.
Impure gas. How are you going to sort that out?
Oh, lovely. Skills too low to purify mixed hydrogen. Yay! Okay, that's pretty much how it works. You skim. That's the thing. Gas giant skimming. Full speed ahead. You skim the surface of a gas giant. That's basically how it works. Okay, let's move on. Colonies can basically sound. Because I don't want to talk during jumps. I think the game might break during jumps. So wait a second here. Okay. Okay. Go to Pomona. And then from Pomona we can just go straight to Miner's Paradise and we can stop that there. Second, okay, go to Miner's Paradise. And it'll be done. Don't have to jump anymore. There we go. And we're here. Okay. We're here? We're here? Maybe? Yes? No? Perhaps? Yes, we're here. Okay. So yeah, quite different, isn't it? Now let's go through here. Moon 17. This what happens when you're outside the core systems. You get an enormous space, an enormous system filled with moons, planets, and of course you have a star, maybe even asteroid fields, like an asteroid field here. Let's go to Moon 24. Now, the whole point of colonization is you go towards a planet, right? Like this, like a moon thingy. And you go to view range. The first thing you do is figure out, oh, hang on. The fuck is that? Oh, there it is. That is really weird. Okay. Feels like I'm looking at an offspring of Azathoth. Holy crap. You go around and you see, does this thing have an atmosphere or not? And if it doesn't, whatever. The whole point for colonization is you go down to a planet, execute extravehicular activity, find out, is the atmosphere suitable? Is the soil rich in materials? Can the soil hold grain, animals? Can the soil hold fruit? Stuff like that. And then when you do find a planet that you like, you go ahead and make a colony there. And there isn't really any limit. You can go to the edge of the galaxy and put a colony away from everyone. And that is more than feasible. And then the colonies are like settlements, again, settlements turned up to 11. Because, am I recording? Wait a second here. Oh yeah, there you go. We're back. The problem is, colonies like settlements, you have a 6x6 plot, basically. Colonies, you have a gigantic plot, an enormous plot, which is capable of holding like hundreds, well, maybe not hundreds, but possibly more than 200, maybe 300 or something. I don't know. Literally hundreds of colony domes, and each of those domes is like their own settlement. And then, depending on where you put the domes, it can produce either iron or carbon or titanium, and it's really amazing. It really is. But the whole point is that you can't make a colony unless you have premium. And that's an issue. Because if you had premium, you could go to the surface of Moon 24 and execute EVA. But you can't, because I don't have premium. They offered me a chance to get a sped up account, which represented a couple of weeks worth of working on the game. I said no, I don't want it. Well, I didn't say no. I just didn't take it up on the offer because I felt like I had to show you people what it was like to get an impression for what it is to grind. And this is the part where I have to say the good things about the game. Number 1, dynamic economy. Number 2, dynamic NPC economy. Number 3, dynamic colon economy. Colon economy? Colon economy. Completely player driven. You can have companies that work that thing. The community is amazing. Incredibly nice. Everyone is willing to help you if you need so. But the problem is, I've talked with Mr. Lieberman, and Mr. Lieberman told me the reason that premium is here is because they have to cover for server costs. And that is perfectly understandable. Fluffy Kitten Studios is not a big-ass fucking company. They don't have the money for this is one server. This is one server for everyone. And it's been running for like 2 years. And the problem is they have to cover for the costs somehow. And right now, it's currently available on Steam for the low price of 19.99 euros, or regional equivalent, or on Azura for 17.99, or regional equivalent. Don't know why it's different, but they have to cover for the server costs, and that's why premium is there. Now, technically, if you buy this game through Steam, you get free access to 3 months of premium, right? Which means for 3 months you can build yourself a colony, you can build settlements on the other planets, but as soon as the 3 months are over, as far as Mr. Lieberman knows, that's it. Those settlements won't be abandoned, and if you get into premium again, you can use them, but as long as you don't have premium, you can't go to them. And that's an issue. It really is. It really is an issue, because the late game stuff, right now, further on, it's planned to have like politics and really in-depth RPG mechanics and Stuff like warp gate building will get a bit more complicated. There'll be pirates, looters, base takeovers. But for now, the problem is that for now, the late game is mostly trading and colonization. And the problem is, if you are a free user, your trading will have to be done by mining. But if you're a premium user, you can just go to the like if you want titanium, for instance. If you want titanium, you can need to mine it. But if you're a premium user, you can just put down a titanium mine and have hundreds and hundreds of it completely free. You can just leave the game running and it'll be good. But if you're not a free user, all you can do that with is grain and iron, which are very much the basics and not exactly that worth it. I mean, imagine I had 1,600 iron. I would probably spend it all making a settlement, and I still would need more iron and other materials. When it comes to colonies, which are the bigger money maker, they're basically a ginormous money and time sink. But once you have them up and running, they are in fact incredibly profitable. But you can't make them unless you have premium access. And as you saw, you can't make extra starbase rings without premium access. And that, I feel, is very unfair. Because here's the deal. I know that EVE also has these kind of mechanics, but EVE is fair in that you have to pay subscription, period. Like, if you don't buy the game, you subscribe to the game. And you have to keep subscribing to keep playing it. Okay, I get it. But in this game, I understand they have to cover for server costs, but the game is effectively dividing the community into two: free users and premium users. Premium users get access to everything. They can mine. They can do they can do everything that free users can do. Plus, they can make settlements on all planets. They can make colonies. And they can make extra starbase rings. That alone is an enormous difference, purely because that's where the big stuff is in the late game, and it's completely barred to new players, to free play, new and free players. You can't do that. You can't. And I understand that you have to pay for the server load. I understand you have to pay for the server costs, but at the end of the day, once you get to a certain point, like if you get to where I am now, which is with a Kraken, all you can really do is go mine, is basically set up your settlement on Vulcan and Ceres and never return, because you can mine stuff faster than you can produce them. But then just go around, mine, and put certain valuable items up for sale at the or the galactic market, or go sell them on the stock market on certain colonies. You can make a hell of a lot of money, but that's all there is for free players. Because at a certain point, you cannot build more stuff. You'll finish your starbase, you'll finish your research, and you can't make colonies, and you can't make more settlements, and you'll basically be stuck. Meanwhile, premium users can keep expanding their starbases. They can make more settlements. They can make colonies, and a colony will take tons of time. I mean, Mr. Lieberman told me that a newbie colony would involve maybe, at best, 7 to 9 hours of play for a newbie colony. And we're talking about something that can be expanded like a bajillion times more than a settlement. And you saw what the settlement was. It takes a lot of resources, but it's also a great moneymaker. But you can't do that unless you're premium. Now, maybe the position will change if they're on Steam. Maybe. I don't know. I hope it does. Because the problem is, on EVE, it's fair because everyone has to play subscription. But here, it isn't, because the free users don't get most of the stuff, because premium users get more stuff than free users do. Free users, once they get to the end game, get to trade. That's it. Premium users get to make better starbases, they get to make better settlements, they get to make colonies, and they get to be the big moneymakers and the big economy rollers. Something that you can't. And that seems a tad bit unfair. Now, the game in itself, if for those of you that play EVE, don't play this game. I mean, you have EVE, whatever. For those of you who never played EVE and really don't want to get into the, oh my god, what the fuck, no, complexity of the whole thing, this is a good substitute. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not complex, because it is in some aspects. I mean, especially the economy, holy crap. But essentially, since it's essentially a real life-based demand and supply economy, It's not. I don't think it's going to be as complex as Eve, at least in the point where it's at. But if you want to play a game that will lend you a lot of fun, a game that will, the only reason I don't play this game more is because I'm forcing myself not to do it. Otherwise, I'd waste time. Even after all I said, I have to force myself not to play the game. Otherwise, I just waste time doing it, and I have other stuff to do. And I don't want to waste time doing it because otherwise I'll just get dumping my time into it, whatever the hell. But the problem is, even with that, I do still have to say that most of the stuff that I wanted to do, I can't because it's behind premium. And because for some reason I can't activate premium even though I have it on Steam. Maybe it's because I didn't buy it, I just got the key for it. I don't know, maybe it was. But of course, once you get to it, the monthly price for all your things. Because you have, let's see, you have oh god, I didn't even speak about combat. You get Combat Premium, you have Planet Premium, and you have Industry Premium, right? All together is going to run you $2.97 US a month. Shit, where's my calculator? Calculator! Hang on. No, Tangle! Calculator! Alright. I have my calculator here. I have my trusty calculator, which is my not computer, my cell phone, which unfortunately is a new oh, there, calculator. Now let's assume it's a 1 to 5, I think dollars currently at, I think the euro is at $1.5, so 2.97 divided by 1.5. For those of you living in Europe, it's going to cost you €2 a month, or something like €2 a month for everything. €2 a month for everything. Yes, it's so even with all that said, premium, at least for this game, is ridiculously fucking cheap. I mean, the game itself is $19.99 on Steam. 19.99 euros are regional equivalent, which by this logic means you can get premium for 10 months for the price it took you to get this game. So yeah, it's actually very, very cheap. I mean, let's look at the expenses for the 3 months. It's $8.91 US dollars. Let's divide that by 1.95. That's €6. €6 or $9 for 3 months of premium. And that's a lot of fucking time. Okay, that's a lot of fucking time. It really is. So, you take what I said with a grain of salt. I do believe that locking most of the endgame stuff for now behind premium is kind of unfair, but I do understand that they have to do it because of server costs. It's not just because money, give money. It's because they actually need to pay for the game. They have one server running this. I'm assuming it takes money to do so. So, I'm not going to say, oh my god, they're trying to get our money, because they're not. They kind of have to pay for it. They're not exactly a big company. Of course, here's to me hoping that them releasing early access on Steam allows for a bit more leeway, because I really would like to have new players access to at least one of the things. Give them access to colony building, maybe. Keep star-based building and extra settlements for the paying players, maybe. Because once you get the colonies, really, you won't need extra settlements. Because if you find a good planet, you can just make everything. But until then, I guess you're going to have to do it. I'm not going to get into bugs now because the video's gone on for long enough. So, final assessment after a few hours of playing, it's fun. I think it's fun. I really do. This is coming from someone who's never played Eve. I have a friend of mine who did play Eve and say, oh, this is just poor man's Eve. And I'm like, maybe it is, but at the end of the day, it's fun. Isn't that all that matters? Isn't that all that matters, really? It's Eve without the community being what it is in Eve. Or so I have heard. Plus, it's fun. It's going to give you several hours of fun. And if they somehow one day release colonies to the general public and not just premium users, I can see this game getting a very big fan base with trading empires being built and trade lanes being constructed. Hopefully. This game has a lot of fucking promise. It's been under development for 2 years. It's being developed as we speak. Here's to me hoping that they just don't squander that. Final assessment on this game? I'm going to give it a fully seal of approval. Would like to see more. I want to see this game fully released on the front page of Steam one day. I fully expect to see that. You know why? Because I have faith in this development team. Now, there are in fact videos about this game. I do believe Random Numbers is a YouTube series. I won't ask him for it because this video's gone on for too long. So if you want to learn more about the more technical aspects of the game and not just talking about the game in general, you can search for it on YouTube. It's also available. But that's all you're getting from me. So thank you for tuning in. Please stay tuned in to the next video. Goodbye.